The G League is part of the league. It's yeah. It's your boy Danny J. Quick, and I'm here with Kyron Silva. And we want to thank you for joining the Four Tales podcast.
I want to know what it is Quick is trying to say.
We're about to talk some comics and get a little bit controversial. Everything from indie books to movie deal level commercial. With no rehearsals when we converse to coerce you. And then we do the quick takes and try to get to the person. So join us and get your comic book a few more sales once a week wherever you pod. It's Four Tales. Once a week wherever you pod. It's Four Tales.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Taurus Comics in collaboration with Fourth Wall Productions respectfully brings to you the 151st episode of the Four Tales podcast.
155.
No, 151.
151.
I'm your host, Kyron Silva from Taurus Comics. Across the way is the great rhymer of Ace Blade, Danger Quick, and together we are your two award-winning blurred comic creators here to help you find your next favorite comic. We are live on the Age of Geekdom Network via Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok. So if you're listening or watching us live, thank you for your support. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and review this podcast, because all your positive reviews, interactions help us reach a bigger audience. All right, now that I did that, you guys can go back to arguing.
Nah, bro. Nah, bro, because y'all hating on LeBron for no reason. Like, I don't get it.
I just, again, like I said, I don't see how you could be mad at a journalist for being a journalist. It's clear to me. I'm not saying that Bronny will never be ready for the NBA. Just at this point, just because you're doing well in the G League doesn't mean that you're ready for the NBA. He's doing well in the G League.
But the G League is part of the league, though.
So for anybody that's wondering,
ask the G League if they feel like they are part of the league.
So for anybody that's wondering who this is, that is our guest for today, Rolam. He's the writer of Scarlett Ranger. The two of them are arguing about LeBron and Bronny James, and I'm just too tired, so y'all can deal with it. So go ahead.
I'm not saying that the G League is the equivalent to an active roster spot. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that those players are developing so that they can get to an active roster spot. And there are people who come from the G League. Listen, I know that you have.
But hold on. But what does that mean, though? What you just said, that means that all those players in the G League are developing because why?
To get a main roster spot, to get a roster spot on an active team, like
because why though? Because they're not ready for the league.
No, that does not. No. You literally are here just okay. There's only 11 spots on the team, right? So they say, yo, man, we got to have some people here in case one of these 11 people go down. I need a point guard. I need a center. I need a shooting guard. That's not how it works.
No, my bro. I'm trying to tell you this. The people who play in the G League are not ready. Like
okay.
90%
Isaiah Thomas in the G League, he wasn't ready. Like
90% of the basketball players who play in the G League are not ready for the NBA.
Okay. All right.
Have you seen the G League games?
Yeah, I watched them. They listen. They be going out, bro. Quincy Olivari, that dude can play on a team, yo.
Okay, right. So we can name like 5 players, but I'm saying look at the totality of the team. Most of those guys are not very good, bro.
But most
of those guys are not very good.
You're comparing G League players to people who are the people on the end of the bench are on active rosters, right? The 10th and 11th player on an NBA bench are on active rosters. That does not mean that they're not good enough to be in the league. That means that they're not the best player on the team, right?
Right. But what I'm saying to you is that the G League, if you go to the G League and you play great in the G League, that doesn't automatically mean that you're
Of course,
ready to play in the NBA.
of course not. There's some great players in
Okay, great.
college that go to the NBA and don't do well,
And that's
right?
all I'm saying about Bronny. Even though he's having good G League numbers, that doesn't necessarily mean he's ready for the NBA.
I mean, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see.
One day I think he will be, but I think we've already seen in how he's played in the NBA, he's not
Okay.
ready.
Now, before we get to the interview, the only thing I'm going to say is if I am LeBron James and this is my son, and I'm saying I believe that my son is good enough for the league, right? If me with my 20 years of experience and knowledge says my son is good enough to be in the NBA, right? He has the talents, he's got the intangibles, he's smart enough to play the game, he knows how to be where he's supposed to be. If I say that he's good enough to be in the league, and then a journalist says this dude is not good enough to be in the league, a journalist who never played basketball, this people on the internet who did not play the game, who do not have my experience, say he's not ready for the league, he's not good enough to play in the league, of course I'm going to be offended. I'm going to feel like, yes, my son is good enough to play in the league. And when I see you, I'm going to press you about it.
But why would you press? Again, I'm not saying that he shouldn't be upset. I'm saying I'm not going, and I feel this way about athletes across the board. I don't
Mhm.
understand when athletes get upset with journalists for making, so like Stephen A says, what KD just did is going to affect his legacy, and KD gets mad at that. Why are we mad at that? He's a journalist. He's expressing his opinion. What you mad about? Hey, Bronny's not ready for the NBA. He's not ready for the NBA. What you mad about?
If I disagreed, if I disagree with you, if
You
you
could
got a huge
disagree. You could
discrepancy,
disagree, but why you mad?
who said he was mad? He just was expressing
He
he was
he
expressing
walked
that
up
he disagreed. And he
and
said, "Hey man, stop talking about my son, yo. Hey, what's the
Stephen A said he was mad. And did you see the video? On the video, he looked mad.
he did look serious. He looked quite
Okay,
serious.
okay, okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Ro Lamb in the building. I
What's
know
good?
it's
What's
what
good?
10 minutes into the show. 10 minutes into the show. Ro
Sorry,
Lamb,
my bad, my
um,
bad.
uh, of Scarlett, creator of Scarlett Ranger, owner Scar, and many, many other things. Fish said, "Look at Kyron all board. He just sitting there.
On
What
this,
you playing? Are you playing a game? You on the Switch? What you playing?
Playing Marvel Strike Force on my
Okay, cool.
phone.
Terrible, man. Roland, welcome to the show, man.
thank you,
Um,
thank you.
we'll continue the discussion later, but I want to use this time to highlight you, brother. For anybody who has not, who doesn't know Roland, give us a little intro to you, what you create, and what you're here to talk about today.
Yes. So as we said, my name is Rolam. I'm a writer of all kinds of things. I write screenplays. I write novels. But we're here today because I wrote a comic book called The Scarlett Ranger. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I have 4 sons, and I just love storytelling. I love to write, and that's who I am.
4 of them things, 4 sons. That's what I'm talking about. I got 3 girls. I tried to get 2. But I guess I don't make boys like that. So I
Yeah.
don't know. Um, no, man. Happy to have you on. Scarlet Ranger number 3 is on live on Kickstarter right now. Scarlet Ranger Part 3 of the Inheritance Saga. Give us. I know I've seen the videos, man. I watch all your content, but give us a little breakdown of Scarlet Ranger 1 and 2, and what's number 3 gonna be about? No spoilers, of course.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So Scarlet Ranger is ultimately it's a story about a young man who inherits the title of Scarlet Ranger from his grandfather. And in issue 1, the story picks up when his grandfather's greatest enemy breaks out of prison. And so we follow this young man as he's learning how to protect his family, protect his city, but ultimately protect the legacy that his grandfather left for him. In issue 2, he starts to dig more into the history of his family, who his grandfather was, the relationship between his grandfather and his father. Because one of the questions is, why didn't his father become the Scarlet Ranger? So we sort of
Yep.
learn a little bit more about that. And then if you read issue 2, you know that it ends on a bit of a tragic note. And so now going into issue 3, we're continuing to follow our hero Dion Davis, aka the Scarlet Ranger, as he's doing everything he can to try to rectify what happened at the end of issue 2. And so the action is starting to ramp up, and this is the penultimate issue of the first arc of Scarlet Ranger. So we got issue 3, and then issue 4 will wrap up this complete arc. So the tensions are rising, the action is ramping up, and I think we got some cool things in store for this issue.
Man, the artwork Kyron is showing right now, the Kickstarter page, the artwork is fantastic, man. I got a chance to officially says, oh, now Danny is team no spoilers. Well, I'm just, I'm not no spoilers. I'm not, what I'm saying. I definitely will talk about spoilers, but when the creator is here, I like to let him talk about it itself. But I have read the script and I thought it was dope, man. I think the story is dope. I can't wait to get to issue 4, but right now, we're on issue 3, and I just love the art, man. So one of the main images is your main character falling. It seems like he's falling out of the sky over the city.
Mhm.
That's a image that you know you got a cover of from Wally. Some of the internal pages are showing that. Why is that moment important, or why is that feeling important important enough that you wanted to put it on the cover?
Yeah, I think for Dion, like I said in issue 2, he starts to, sort of dig into his family's history a little bit more. And I feel like sometimes when you begin to look at your history, or, your family's history, you start to learn more about the people around you, you can start to feel like you're falling. You know what I'm saying? You can start to feel like, um, there's nothing to grab onto, and there's nothing to catch you, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I think for me, as a part of this issue, he actually does have a moment where he's falling, but I think it's symbolic of how he's feeling, even in his personal life and in his, just his interactions with his family, with his father specifically. Because that's also really what this story is about. It's about fathers and sons. It's about the relationship that you have, with, somebody that you want to be proud of. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wants his dad to be proud of him, but he also knows that he can't do everything the way that his dad wants him to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that can put you in this feeling of, I'm falling. I don't know what's gonna catch me. You know what I'm saying, in this moment. You know what I'm saying, and so it's like almost like a helplessness or a hopelessness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I like that. I like that. And now that you're talking about families, let's talk about your family. No, I'm just playing. I'm not
Oh,
gonna,
okay, cool.
not gonna put you out like that.
You
No,
need to
man.
fill out that form again. What do I not want to talk about?
No, man. I think that's something universal that a lot of people can relate to. Shoot, even at different points in your life, teenagers like Dion. You know, when you're a teenager, sometimes you can feel like you might be losing a grip or losing, your central family, not knowing, who you can trust, who you can depend on. I know I got a 19-year-old who trying to find her way right now. And then as you get older, um, of course, you got uh, you kind of grow away from some family. You may stay close to some family, but I think that's universal feeling, man. So I think that's dope that you put that in your writing for sure.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Kyron, you look like you wanted to get in there. Kyron, what's up?
I'm just soaking everything in. Just it's been a long week, dude. It's been a long week. So okay, for the people that have read issues 1 and 2, what can we expect at issue 3? And not necessarily spoilers, but maybe things that have been cliffhangers from issue 1 and 2 that we can maybe finally get answers on. Like, what can we expect? Things like that.
Yeah, I think for me, um, issue 3 is just going to. I think you're going to see more resolve in the relationship between him and his father. Um, because, like I said, you know, I said this the other day too. Sometimes when you write something, you don't really know what it is at the time when you're writing it, And I think when I first started writing this story, I thought it was just going to be a cool, like, superhero story. And as I started to write it and build the themes into it, I could see more of, my life. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, even when you talk about my family, like me and my dad, we grew up. we didn't have a great relationship. And so, but now we have a much better, we talk, once or twice a week. You know what I'm saying? Like I have a good relationship with my dad. And so I think in this first arc, you're starting to see that with Dion and his father, where, the first two issues, they're very estranged and they're very, distant from each other, maybe trying to get on the same page, but just not quite there yet. And I think issue three, because of what they go through in issue two and issue three, by the end of issue three, it brings them to this place of, I think, resolve, and they begin to realize how important their relationship is. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's the major thing. And then I think the other thing too is just, I feel like we put a lot of care into all the books, but issue three, I feel like really has come out really, really good, just from an art standpoint, a color standpoint, a quality standpoint. So I feel like there's a little bit of a, I don't want to say a step up, but it just feels like, we really get into our groove with this issue.
Now you just launched the Kickstarter for it today, right?
Yep, I just launched it. Yep, I launched it this morning, probably about 8 or 9 o'clock. Yep,
And you're got like 75% funded already,
75%. Yes, sir.
somewhere around there. How did you? Sorry, my brain's a fog right now. What would you say is some of the tips that you can maybe give some of our listeners that are trying to start a Kickstarter to maybe help them get to that type of launch?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, in my opinion, about Kickstarters is the real work that you do on a Kickstarter is actually done before the Kickstarter.
Mm.
I think if you promote it, I try to get 2 months ahead with my promotion, start talking about it, start telling people, start getting images out, and I feel like if you're doing that work beforehand, I feel like going into the Kickstarter, you already have a little bit of momentum. And I think if you're trying to do that while it's launched, I think that makes it even more difficult because you already have the stress of the campaign going, and you're trying to tell people, okay, I know you haven't heard of this, you're trying to do this, you're trying to do that. But if you've done all that before, the rest of it can just be like follow up. You know what I mean? It can just be a continuation of what you've already started a month or two beforehand. So I think that's my biggest tip. Like, do the work before and lay that foundation a month or 2 months before, so that you can just go into the campaign rolling. You know what I'm saying?
I like it.
So you said this is the penultimate issue, and because I know what that word means, I know that the next issue is the final issue of the series.
Yeah.
So
But wait, you
leading
said
into
penultimate issue of the arc, not the series.
of the arc,
Art.
yeah, of
Right,
the
right, right,
arc,
right.
yeah. So 4 issues in this arc. So I guess we can you said that there's going to be some catharsis between Dion and his father, but I know that it means that there's going to be a climax coming real soon, so
Did you have to put those words together like that?
I mean, I mean, you know what I mean. I
I
know
know
you're
what you
gonna be
meant. I'm
leading
just saying, did
into
you have to put the word together like that?
leading into something big. So,
Yeah.
like you said, the second issue ended off, with something sad. How is it structuring, a story like this? Like I know you were talking about earlier. You didn't exactly know exactly what it was when you were writing it, but as you're figuring it out, what is your plan to structure a story like this to make it really hit for all 4 issues?
Yeah. So I think that the first thing is I just try to get my beginning, my middle, and my end, right? So I want to know what's our setup, right? What does the world look like? Who are our characters? And set that foundation early. And then I want to something happen to disrupt that, right? And then throw us into the middle of the story, which is where the bulk of the conflict, the bulk of the action is happening. And then there's at the end of that section, there's like a realization and I guess that would be the climax that takes you into our third act or the end of the story, right? So for this story, I outlined the entire first arc, and then I just broke it up into the issues that I wanted it to be. And I want each issue to end on a little bit of a cliffhanger, a little bit of a something that is that's gonna have you wanting to read the next issue. You know what I'm saying? And I actually read somewhere, I think it was Brian Michael Bendis, his book. I can't remember the name of it. Words and Art, I think it might be. But he said he tries to do a cliffhanger on every page. On every page, he tries to do something where it forces you to either turn the page or you want to go to the next page. And so that's something that I'm thinking about a lot, especially in the medium of comic books, is like constantly giving people a reason to turn the page. And so that's what I'm thinking about a lot structurally when I'm writing a comic book is, what's getting you to move your eyes from one panel to the next, from one, what's getting you to turn the page and what's getting you to pick up the next issue. So that's sort of my approach to structure. That's how I sort of think about it.
Absolutely. So why comics though? I know that you write a lot of different things: poetry, screenplays, music. Why did you choose comic books for Scarlet Ranger over all the other mediums that you could have gone with?
Yeah, I think for me, comic books, I don't know, it just felt really accessible. It felt like it was something that I could do, right? So like
Mhm.
when I first wrote the script for Scarlet Ranger, I didn't have access to screenplay software or things like that. And so I was like, you know what? And then with a novel takes so long to write, you know. So I'm like, you know what? I could write 24 pages of a comic book, or 20 pages of a comic book, and I could just use Google Docs, right? So it just I don't know, it felt accessible. And then I think the other thing is I've just always loved superheroes. I've always loved um, reading like X-Men or reading Daredevil, Spider-Man. And so when I started to think of what Scarlet Ranger could be, I thought of it as a comic book, and I do write, different, like people will ask me like, well, do you want this to be a TV show? Do you want this to be a cartoon? Like, do you see it like that? And I'm like, yeah, that would be cool. But because I write so many different things, I believe in respecting the medium. And so if I see it as a movie or a TV show, I'm gonna write it as a movie or a TV show, right? If I see it as a comic book, I'm not just writing comic books because I want it to be a TV show or a movie one day. Writing it as a comic book because I see it as a comic book. Like this is how I think it works. In my mind at least, it works best in this medium. And again, like I said, that's not to say it won't ever be anything else. But the goal is to make this the best comic book that it can be. And because I respect the medium. So
All right, now you're on your way to getting this funded. I mean, even officially said he backed it. So, and we know issue 4 is going to be the end of this arc. What about issue 5 and beyond? Are we going to find out more about the Scarlet Ranger legacy, maybe past the grandfather, things like that? What else can we maybe expect down the line?
um yes,
Okay.
we're gonna find out some more things.
Hey, y'all laugh. I have no information on anything that's plotted or anything, so I'm just asking them.
Yeah,
I'm a
yeah, yeah.
broadcast
So
journalist, as they say.
no, this is great. These are great questions. I definitely have some plans. I don't want to say too much because I don't know exactly what's going to happen in terms
Okay.
of story wise, but I have started to plan out the next arc. Um, and I think I'm really excited about that because I think I have a the villain that I'm thinking of is going to be a little bit different. So I think it's going to force the format and the way I write this next arc to be a little bit different. So I'm excited about that. And I also think, I've been having, conversations with the publisher, um, Fourth Wall to be
Hmm.
exact. And
What's the name of that publisher again?
I made
Okay.
Fourth Wall
Okay.
Productions.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Yep.
I may be bringing Scarlet Ranger into that universe and integrating, some of
Oh, oh.
doing,
So
you
that
know what I'm
that
saying,
that makes sense now,
seeing what we can do with
considering
that. So
this cover is available. That makes a
yeah,
little
this
bit
is the
more sense
beginning right here,
now.
baby.
Okay.
Yeah, y'all don't know, bro. Y'all don't even know.
For our podcast listeners, I'm showing one of the covers that's available, which has Scarlet Ranger from Rolam and this purple ninja-like character, Ace
Yeah,
Bat, something like that. I
ace
can't
something,
remember.
something with an ace or something like that. But yeah, man. We're no there, no official announcement or anything yet. But we've been talking
He
with
just
Ro
did
for
it.
we've been talking with Ro for a long time, trying to get him uh as part of the Fourth Wall universe. But I'm proud to say we're working on something with Bequest Studios also. So maybe a lot of changes coming in the near future for all of us. So
As
Man,
editor in chief at Fourth Wall Productions, I feel like I should know these things, but I don't know shit.
you know as much as I know. you know you you know almost as much as I know. I'll just say that. So, but I was gonna ask you about the villain, man, because with Scarlet Ranger's villain being kind of inherited from his grandfather, I was gonna ask you like how when are we gonna see some of his own villains, or what would cause somebody to become a villain in this universe that you're making?
Yeah, so I think coming out of this arc, we will see more villains that's being that are rising out of the situation that's happening in this first arc.
Hmm.
But I think the thing about the villains, and because it's an inherited villain, it there does seem to be a little bit of a there's a parallel between his father, like Dion and his father, and the other character, the villain character, Malware, and his his son, his adopted son, Firmware. That's what I call him, Darkware.
Hmm.
And so they have like this parallel father son dynamic going on that you sort of see. And so based off of everything that's happening in this first arc, it's going to change the city. The city's called Royal City. It's a sort of like a cyberpunk. It's like a neo, techie type of world. And so I think coming out of this, not I don't think I know coming out of this arc, we're going to see more um, technological savvy villains that are using, some of the aftermath of what happens at the end of this arc to basically rise up and have their own motivations and reasons why they want to see Scarlet Ranger knocked down a peg, if you will.
One of the things I noticed in your books, and I don't know if this is intentional a lot or not, but it seems like the young characters um in your stories in this story kind of represent like the progressive. They want to, they want to use technology for different things. They got ideas and youthful energy. And then some of the older characters are kind of like the system. Like they are um they're especially like Dion's father, like he's more, straightforward, you know. Is that intentional? Is that representative of how you see the world, or am I just pulling that out of nowhere?
You're pulling out
No,
nowhere.
I think that's interesting because I feel like when I talk to people, they always point out certain things about the story that I don't even see, and
Mm,
then it does parallel with my life. Like I feel like that is the relationship that I have with my dad and a lot of the men that raised me. A lot of the men that raised me are old school. You know what I'm saying? They old school. And so I find myself a lot of times like sort of bucking against the system. Like, nah, what if we could do it this way? What if we did this? I was having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and she was telling me she was talking about the reality, and she said, "What you're saying is how you want it to be. You're talking about how you imagine it to be." And what she was saying was, "I'm trying to tell you what it is, and you trying to tell me what it could be."
mm,
And I feel like I find myself in that space a lot where I'm having a conversation about something, and I'm imagining the different ways that life could be, but a lot of times, people are thinking about, well, this is just what it is. This is how we got to do it. Um,
mhm,
and so now that when you say that, that is Dion to some extent, right? That's although Dion. So the other thing, another theme that I'm playing with in this is learning how to honor the traditions and the legacy that came before you, but also learning how to be your own self. And so we
mm,
see Dion trying to, his grandfather was like a brawler, like a fighter. So we see Dion trying to fight and be that type of person. But you're not really built like that. So you got to figure out how to be a hero the way that you're a hero. And you got to accept that you're different. You know what I'm saying? So, you're building the gadgets and you're doing certain things because you're not as adept with hand to hand combat like that.
right.
So don't even try to do that. You can make them proud being yourself and doing your thing. You know what I'm saying? Um, so yeah.
No, I
I
think
think
that's dope.
thinking
Go ahead, Kyle.
talking about legacies. What does Dion think about Bronny James?
I think Dion thinks that he's a he's a good young man. Uh,
Mhm.
he's got a lot of work to do before he's
Mm.
ready for the NBA. But
Mm. Will he ever be ready
Dion's
though?
in his corner though. Dion is in his corner for sure.
Hey, that's all. That's all anybody ever wants. We just need to be in the corner of the youth, man. We need to support the youth, and and help them, work towards a good future, man.
For sure.
Um, man, I appreciate that. You know what it's time for, man? It's time for my favorite part of the show. We got quick takes coming up, Kyron. Whenever you're ready. Shout out to
Let me go
Concrete
quick.
Comics in here on TikTok, man. Okay, so quick takes. If you've never seen the show before, quick takes is a rapid Q&A session where we grill our guests on their deepest, darkest secrets from the internet. Man, I like to do my research. I like to go way, way, way back, way,
Back in
way, way
time.
back in time, um, to get these questions. And here we go, man. So you're gonna have 45 seconds each to answer each question, and then we'll end with a top 5 list. So, question number 1. This is a question that we ask a lot of creators. With con season coming up, there's a lot of different shows that we can go to. I want to know for Roland, man. I know I was with you at Charlotte MiniCon, but you've done was it MomoCon or DragonCon this
Dragon
past
Con.
year? DragonCon this past year, which is a huge show. So for you, what do you prefer, big cons or small shows, and why?
Mm. I think I like big cons. I like big cons because I like more people.
Mm-hmm.
I think the more people we have, the more chance I have to sell a book.
Hey, there's the answer right there. That's easy peasy, straight to the point. I like it. All right. So question number 2. Now this one's a little more personal. I
Hold on,
don't
I'm
even know.
sorry. Can I ask a quick question? So I
Yeah,
got 40. I got 45 seconds to answer each question.
each
Yeah.
question.
Oh, okay,
Each
gotcha. All right,
question. Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah. So question number 2. Um, and this one is might be a little more personal. I don't even know if you know that you do this, but anytime I've seen you write your name out or type your name out, you you use a lowercase r for Roland. Is
Hmm.
that something that you do on purpose? And if so, why?
Yeah, I just stole that from Cummings.
Oh, okay.
When I was in English class, they told me Cummings always wrote his name lowercase. And I said, "Hey, I'm gonna do the same thing." And so I can't wait for the day when I write my movie, and they put my name on the credit, or the TV show they put my name on the credits, and I gotta tell them, "Hey, everything lowercase, please." And look,
It's gonna happen too.
it's even on the book too,
Yeah,
lowercase. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
everywhere.
I noticed that. I noticed it when I was because I did the design for the I did some of the type for the Kickstarter, and I was
Mhm.
like, "Yo, everybody else is in all caps, but Rose is in a different font, and it's all lowercase." I was like, "What is up with this?" But I kept it the same way. I kept it the same way because I noticed it was on because I got some of your other books too. So, anyways, all right. So, question number 3. Like I said, man, I've read probably more of your stuff, in different genres or different mediums than any other writer, like any other indie writer anyway. Because mostly everybody just does comics. But I'm saying, like, Kyron, you have not written a screenplay that I've read. You've not written poetry. I've read all of that stuff from Bro. So give me in 45 seconds your top tips for writing consistently and making sure you put out work.
Top tips. The major thing I would say is always start small. I was on a panel somewhere, and a guy said, "Hey, I'm setting aside 3 hours a day to write, and I just keep failing. What do I need to do?" I said, "You need to set 5 minutes. You need to write 5 minutes a day, because if you start, you need to. Your goal needs to be so small that it's difficult to not do it. So you say it's 5 minutes, or you say it's one sentence. Like that's what you set, so that when you think, oh, I can't write I can write a sentence. Let me do that. You know what I'm saying? So I would say set your goal small. Start small.
Man, that's dope. That's very um like eye opening too, man. Like, because like you said, make it a goal that you know that you can do, like that. You will feel bad not to do it. Like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, yeah, that makes sense.
And then you could
Because
just build off of that. You just build off of that. Yeah.
yeah, if I
Eric
can write
Larson
one sentence,
says
I can
that
write two.
Eric Larson says people should practice writing a 6-page story.
Mm-hmm.
Just make what you can as exciting as you can in that 6 pages, and that will help you to go from there.
Agreed.
Bet. Okay. All right. So, on February 4th, 2013, you put a note up on Facebook, and it said, "The way that I think will dictate what I accomplish."
Mm.
Okay. Now that was over 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, what did that mean to you then, and does it still mean the same to you now?
That's crazy. Yeah. I don't know what I was thinking then, but it does mean something to me now. I think I just read this book called 10x is greater than 2x. I mean, 10x is easier than 2x. And the
Mm,
idea of the book is it's easier to do something. It's harder to get 10% more money than it is to get 10 times more money, because in order to get 10% more money, there's a lot of different things you could do. But in order to get 10 times more money, there's only one or two things you could do. And
mm,
so the way that you approach a problem, the way that you approach going to the next level changes what you do. You know what I'm saying? And so I think
mm.
that's why I say, to me, that's what it means now, right? Like the way that I think, the way that I approach my problems determines what I'm actually able to do.
I
How many
like
of
that.
those things that you use to get that 10 times more money are legal? That's why I need to know.
We didn't say nothing about legalities.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
We didn't
we
say
ain't
All
said
nothing
that
about
about
that.
morality,
right.
legality, ethics.
Okay. Just wondering.
Hey, we gotta get to the bag. No.
We figure
All
all
right.
that out later.
All right. So, question number 5. Usually for the fifth question, we always do a top 5 list. Just to get a little insight into the mind of our guests, and because we do another show called Top 5 Live.
No,
Um,
stop saying we. I don't do that show. I got
you be
replaced by Justin.
you be in the comments though. You be in the comments.
All
So,
right.
um, so this week I'm gonna get you to do a top 5 list, and I know that you are a fan of battle rap. You be sending battle rap. You be sending
Yeah.
battle raps to the groups and stuff like that. So I want to know 5-1.
Ugh.
Who are your top 5 battle rappers?
My favorite, or who are the
The
top five?
best. Who do you think are the top 5 best battle rappers of all time?
Hmm. That's a good question. That's a good question.
Daylight better be in
Um, you said Daylight.
better be in there.
I think for my 5, I'm gonna go. Oh, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with my friend K Nails.
Okay.
He's not a very known battle rapper, but he's tough. K
Okay.
Nails, tough. Look up K Nails. K
Amen.
Nails. For my 4, I'm gonna go Calico. He's from Detroit.
Cool.
I'm gonna go
Okay.
Calico.
I like
For
it.
my 3, I'm gonna go Sue Surf, Free to
Surf.
Wave.
Surf. I like it.
Um, for my 2, mm, I'm gonna go Charlie
Clips.
Clips.
I
I'm gonna
like
go Charlie
clips. Okay.
Clips. For my 1, I'm gonna go Murder Mook.
Mook. Okay. All right. All
What?
right. No
Not B
Arsenal.
Rap? Not B Rabbit? Oh, man.
Not
Arsenal.
B
I
Rabbit.
like I like Arsenal. I really do like watching Arsenal battle raps, but I feel like he be getting too like cartoony with it sometimes, and
Mm,
like he be losing battles like that. I think.
I feel you.
I do like him though. I
Mm.
do like him though. I think he's funny. I think he got good
Yeah.
stage presence. Um, but I think there's a couple other guys that I like. Like even somebody like I like O Red better than Arsenal.
I like O Red, man. O Red is yeah.
O Red is
I've been
tough. He be having
I've
some
been
tough stuff.
I've been watching more like full battle. Like I used to catch the clips and stuff, but I've been watching like more full battles since you and Wally be sharing them in the group chat and stuff like that. So
Hmm. Hmm.
definitely. Okay, man. I appreciate you doing that, brother. This week, Quick Takes is brought to you by our sponsor, Gemini Comic Supply. If you go to Gemini Comic Supply and enter the promo code AceBlade, you will get 10% off your entire order. Appreciate you doing that for us, bro. Kyron?
I was just trying to see if you were going to take over the ending like you did last week. Bro, I appreciate you being on, dude. It's always fun having you on.
Oh, that's it? That's the show? We done?
Yeah,
That's
that
the show,
was
man.
40
45 minutes.
45
We in and
yeah.
out.
Okay, cool.
I mean, you and Danny want to stay on and just debate
No,
Bronny
we good.
more?
I just thought it was a little longer, but we good. Yeah, we good.
45
but
minutes.
you want-
We in and out, bro. We in and out.
Danny's back can't handle more than this, so we gotta let him
That's fact.
go stretch.
Wait.
We want to make sure our followers check you out though. Where's the best spots that people can maybe check out your work, follow you, things like that?
Yeah, right now you can go to Kickstarter. Scarlett Ranger Inheritance Part 3 is on Kickstarter right now. We are about 75% funded and ready to hit that goal so we can start talking stretch goals. So right now I think that's the best place. And then rolam.com, and then you can find me on Instagram at rolam, ROLAMB. And yeah, those are the best places.
All right. Danny, where can we check you out?
The best place to find me is my website, fourthwallpros.com. And if you want to find me on social media, it's at the Ace Blade on all social media platforms. Kyron, where can people find you, sir?
You can find me at Kickstarter, checking out Rolam's Kickstarter and backing that. But after I do that, you can check me at touriscomics.com. I'm on all social media platforms at Tourist Comics. And this is your first time checking out our podcast, you can go to our website, fourtailspodcast.com. That is the number 4, TALES podcast. You can listen to our previous episodes. You can buy some merchandise, support us that way. But definitely join us back next week, same time, where we are going to have Sebastian Jones on the show talking about his book. But until next time, everybody, sayonara, goodbye, and please take care of yourself.
I want to know what it is Quick is trying to say.